Hi, I'm Phil with Franklin Water Treatment. Today we're going to be showing you how to tear down this Clack control valve. If your valve doesn't look exactly like this, don't worry about it. The procedure we're using today is going to be universal across the entirety of the Clack valve line. So any parts we use today, they'll be listed in the description down below. And with that, let's get started. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn the bypass handles towards each other like this. That'll isolate the unit and continue to allow water to the rest of the home while we're servicing this unit. If your unit does not have a bypass, if for some reason it was directly plumbed into the home, you'll have to relieve pressure to the entire home while you work on this unit. But we have a bypass on this one, so we can isolate it, and then we're going to come over and we're going to work on the head. Okay, so now that the bypass is closed, we're going to relieve pressure on the system so we can access the seal kit. To do that, press and hold the regen button. Now, all of our Stirling softeners start with the fill cycle as the first cycle. If it's a backwashing unit, obviously backwash will be the first cycle, but we're going to skip through until we hit backwash because that's the fastest way to relieve the pressure. Okay, now with the unit in backwash, pressure has been relieved and we can access the components to begin our repairs. So we're going to pull the tabs on the side of the cover out. That'll cause the cover to come off. With the circuit board exposed now, we are going to remove the power cable and the meter cable. Pull our wires out. Now this whole bracket, the drive bracket, we are going to take our forefingers here, push on the bracket like that, take our thumbs, we're going to lever up on these two tabs here, like so. Cause the whole bracket to fall forward. After that, you just pick it up and out, and now our drive cap is exposed. Okay, now with the drive cap exposed, we need to remove this to gain access to the pistons and seals behind it. So the first method that you can use to do that would be a standard flathead screwdriver. You can stick that in there and you can try to lever that out or sometimes tap from the other end. That'll get this whole thing to turn. It's very slow. Another method that you can use to do removal is with your pair of channel locks. You can grab on the outside of this drive cap and then you can lever it out. If you do use this method though, make sure you're grabbing on the outside here and you're not grabbing on the inside on these teeth because A, that'll just spin around on you, and B, it'll also break off the teeth, meaning it'll never find home again. So with that said, our preferred method, we're going to take our handy Clack tool here. We sell these, they're very handy. If you're going to be working on Clack valves, I highly recommend having one of these on your truck. So we're going to push this into the valve like so. With my other hand, I'm going to apply pressure this way, and I'm just going to kind of lever this. A couple turns on there, and then it should come free by hand. Just give it a gentle pull, and the whole piston assembly should come out. So with our piston assembly free, when you buy these parts, this is going to be a one part number, this is going to be another part number. Now they'll both come in a kit if you buy the full rebuild kit, but otherwise, when we want to go and change these out, I'm going to run this drive cap forward. And if this is not free to turn by hand, if it's really stiff or you can't turn it all, go ahead and replace the drive cap as well. But if we're just working on the pistons, we're going to rotate the piston around until we see there's a notch in this piston where this drive rod comes through. I'm going to push on that. That'll come free. Now when it comes to the Brine piston, which is the one at the back here, this one is the same, so we can just push that out and that comes free. And whenever you're assembling it to put it in your valve, just do the opposite. You push it in like that, attach your drive cap by pushing into the drive rod and run it back. Then we can put it back inside our valve. I'm going to come back with my wrench, put that in there, and I'm just going to tighten that down. It doesn't have to be super tight, but it just has to be enough that we meet resistance. Right about there. With our drive gear fully tightened down, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that our wires are both seated inside of these little channels. If they're outside of the channels, this bracket is never going to go back on right. So make sure your wires are pushed in on both sides. Meter on the left, power cable on the right. So now with the drive bracket, we're going to look to see these 2 feet here and here. We're going to match them up on our back plate, like so. Just going to drop in there. We're going to lever the whole thing up. Again, make sure your wires are free. We're just going to push on it till we hear it snap. If it meets a little bit of resistance, sometimes turning that gear can help. Just like so. I'll run my wires through. Meter cable will go on the far right. I'm going to do the same thing with my power cable here. Power cable will go into the 4-prong slot, like so. And then I'm going to attach my cover. Now with our face cover back on, we can go ahead and open up our bypass and return water flow to the unit. Once this is back in service, go ahead and put this into a manual regeneration. Once we went through this entire procedure, this unit has forgotten where the capacity in the tank is. So we want to make sure that what's reading on here matches what's down in here. So put this into a manual regeneration. That'll refresh the bed, bring it back to 100% so that both of these are matched up and it can begin metering again. Once that's done, this unit has been fully rebuilt and you're ready to go.